Hello friends, my name is Anna. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm especially excited, tails wagging, because I am going to be talking about all the books that I read in January. So January was an excellent reading month for me. I was able to read 6 books, which for me, January, that's above and beyond what I normally read in the month of January, just because of a bunch of different things going on, usually with school and family and everything like that. So I was pretty proud of myself that I was able to get 6 books under my belt. The first book that I completed in January, I started it in December, but I finished it in January, so that's why I'm making it a part of this wrap up, was The Stand by Stephen King. And I have a full video on this that's spoiler free, which I will link down in the comments below. And what can I say? It's about a worldwide pandemic called the super flu that infects over 95% of the world's population, and a bunch of people die, and it's all about the survivors that are left and how they need to cope and survival and all of those wonderful things. And it's King, and it is his magnum opus in my opinion. I have read quite a few Stephen King books, not all of them, but I've read quite a few. And out of all of the ones that I've read, this one by far is my favorite. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be my favorite book of 2021. And it was the first book that I read. So easily 5 stars. The second book that I read in the month of January was The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This is about a woman named Rachel Kroll who has a kind of like a true crime podcast, and she goes to this little remote town to sit in on a trial of a boy who has the potential to be an Olympic swimmer, and he is on trial for rape. It is very triggering, and it does have a lot of discussions and descriptions about rape, so that might be something that you want to keep in mind before you pick this one up. As she's in the town, she starts receiving these mysterious letters from another woman whose sister passed away many years prior, and her surviving sister is asking Rachel for assistance to look into the murder that happened so many years ago. This one was very good. I really enjoyed it. I kind of switched back and forth between the audiobook because they did have it available on Scribd, and I really liked the part where they had the podcast because they added like the little introduction music, and they had different points of view. So I liked that they had one actress reading for Rachel and one actress reading for the sister. So that was very good. Overall, it was a pretty good read. I don't know if I'm going to remember every single detail about it in the future, in the upcoming months, but I still gave it 4 stars, still enjoyed it. So Jen has just decided to grab her squeaky toy, and now she's in the kennel squeaking her toy while I'm recording. So this should be fun. Book number 3. Book number 3 for January. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casey. Yeah, I'm not even mad that she's making those noises right now, because I should have read this one in 2020, because this would have been like the cherry on top of the disaster that 2020 was. I did not like this book. I did not like it. It is about a man that goes to a mental institution, and he is the hero of the mental institution, and he's trying to sock it to the woman that's in charge, Nurse Ratched, and I hated it. I hated the character. I hated the way that the nurse was portrayed. I hated the little snide racist comments throughout the novel. I did not like it at all. After reading the novel, I looked into the author, and he was completely against feminism and he was completely against racial equality, and both of those aspects show through 100% in this novel. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am not a purist when it comes to reading. I read a lot of old Stephen King, and if you have ever read any old Stephen King, you know how he refers to African American and indigenous people in his earlier novels. However, this was just like at a whole new level for me. The hero of the story is Randall Patrick McMurphy. He is a rapist, he is a liar, he is a gambler, he is an abuser. So he basically pleads insanity so that way he can get put into the mental institution as opposed to going to jail. And once he is there, he realizes that he doesn't want to be there. So he starts creating all of these problems. And throughout the novel, I just kept envisioning those guys that you see in like teen shows that sit at the back of the class and crack jokes and go against the teacher and are just like super annoying and everybody hates them. Yeah, for me, that was Randall Patrick McMurphy. The only character that I liked in this book was Bromden. He was the indigenous man that was there at the asylum that kind of like ends up befriending McMurphy. And he was the only one that I kind of felt sympathy for, but everyone else I hated. In a way, I suppose it was good because if anyone ever discusses how much they love this book, at least I'll be able to say, well, I read it and I hated it because this and this and this and this. But it's honestly and truly one of those books that I wish that I hadn't read. So I gave this one 1 star. After that book, I knew that I needed something light and uplifting, so I read a poetry collection called Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. This was very well written. I really enjoyed the poems in here, and she breaks up the poetry book into different sections, and I really liked the last section. It was titled, These Are For You, and it was just so nice because you can tell that she was really trying to make a connection with people that are feeling down or that are feeling depressed. And it was just so nice to read something like that. And I have honestly never read anything like that with any other poet or author before, where it truly felt like the author was trying to be uplifting to anyone that picked up the book. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do not rate poetry as I do not rate memoirs because I feel that those are very close to the author or the poet's heart, and I would not want somebody ragging on me. So I did not rate this book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. After that one, I decided to read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I went into like a little bit of a reading slump after Pillow Thoughts, so my husband actually helped me. I asked him, you know, I'm in a bit of a reading slump. Will you help me pick a book? So he picked out this one, and I'm really glad that he did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is, I believe it's supposed to be a YA novel about a girl named Kath who is like an extreme introvert, like extreme. Like I'm an introvert, but like she is to the extreme to where she gets anxiety trying anything new. She ends up going to college with her twin sister, but her twin sister is the polar opposite. So she wants to go out, she wants to meet people, she wants to make new friends. And Kath is like, no, like I want to sit inside of my dorm room and eat power bars because I don't want to go to the dining hall where people are going to see me, and I just want to write fan fiction all day. So her and her sister end up staying in different rooms, and it's just about all these things that go on while she's in college. It's about her writing fan fiction. It's about her taking a creative writing class. It's about her trying to get out of her shell and meet new people and finding her voice. And I just really enjoyed it. At that moment, it was really the book that I needed to get me out of a reading slump. So I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. And finally, my last book that I finished on the last day of January was Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doughty. And yes, that does say crematory. This book is part memoir, part self-help book about Caitlin Doughty, who looks for a job. She's very fascinated by the macabre and by everything related to death. So when she is 23 years old, she already has a degree in English, I believe, maybe medieval history. And she looks for a job, and she gets a job at a crematory, and she works there for 6 years before she decides to go to mortuary school. So it's all about her experiences there, her experiences with death, with life, with the family, with grieving, and just how her perception about death changes, how she becomes more comfortable with it, the people that she ends up working with, and everything in between. This was honestly, in my opinion, one of the most phenomenal memoirs I have ever read. It was so full of voice and so full of humor. There were parts that made me cringe, and then immediately in the next section, I would start chuckling because it was funny. You can also tell that she really did her research as she references ancient cultures and their beliefs regarding death and their customs many times throughout the book, which I really liked as well. And honestly, when I finished it, I went on a bunch of social media platforms and started posting because I just felt like everyone that's able to should read this book. Major trigger warnings throughout the novel, of course, for death. And there is a lot of description about different kinds of death, the bodies that they receive into the crematory, and other situations that people may feel uncomfortable about. So I would recommend reading the author's note at the beginning before you start this one, and maybe doing a little bit of research if you think that anything like that is going to bother you as you read. Honestly, aside from The Stand, this one was one of my top books. I really and truly believe that this is going to be in my top 10 for 2021. It was just so well written. It was such a good time reading it. And I know, like, the topic is just like, what? But it really was. And it was so interesting. And on top of that, my cousin Melissa, shout out Melissa, told me that Caitlin Doughty has a YouTube channel. So you better believe that I got my little hiney on YouTube and subscribed, and I've been falling down the rabbit hole of all of her videos. So that's been a fun time as well. So I have Janice on my lap because she's being a little poopy face. Yes, you're being a little poopy face. But those are all the books that I read in the month of January. So go and hug your dog, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, wash your hands. Please hit that subscribe button down below if you have not already. I will also leave my social media accounts down below in the comments as well, in case you would like to follow me on Instagram or become my friend on Goodreads. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a great day. Bye.